right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dental Disruptors Podcast. My name is Jake Larson, your host, here with my co-host, Clint Berry. What's up, Clint?
Hello, hello.
And a good friend of ours, another Utah local here, someone we've known for a long time. We'll get into the background there a little bit as we start, but a good friend of ours, Matt McGaw here, to introduce some new stuff that he's doing, which is really cool. So, Matt, thanks for joining us today. We're excited to introduce this to our listeners.
I appreciate it, of course.
Yeah, Matt and I go way back to the Weave days. He and I crossed paths. He was doing some consulting for an MSP that we partnered with at Weave. Correct me if I say anything incorrect here, Matt, but he was doing some work there. Fast forward to multiple years, I'd been out of the dental industry. We were starting CALA, and I go to a Yankee convention for the first time in years, and I go up to Matt and I'm like, hey, I want to pick your brain, because he had been on a panel at that show. And I go up to Matt and I'm like, hey, can I chat with you for a little bit? And he was like, Jake, what's up, man? He totally remembered who I was. And I was the awkward one that was like, remind me who you are.
I was like, dude, you're in my phone, remember?
Yeah, exactly. He told my, exactly.
Now we know who the better sales rep is, Jake. Matt remembers
totally
everybody.
Yeah. You're at the same hotel I was at. I was like, who's this crazy guy with a really colorful backpack? I feel like I recognize him.
That's right. He totally called me out. And so we chatted for a little bit, reminisced on the good old days at Weave. And then we've kept in touch for a while since then. Matt's been kind to help us as we've got off the ground with COLA. He's just got a ton of industry experience and expertise in so many different areas of dental. So we are really excited to have Matt and just a good friend of ours. So let's any corrections there, Matt? Did I misspeak with anything?
Not at all, man. Funny story enough, I don't think I told you this. About 3 weeks ago, my fiance brought on a junior accountant to support her business, and her husband used to work for you as well.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I forget his name off the top
Small
of my
world
right now, but yeah, you're all around me, buddy.
Yeah, why haven't we golfed yet? Let's go. Next to-do list item, meet up on the course. All right, so let's dive in. So that's how we know each other. Matt, give everyone just a little bit of a breakdown of your background in dental. I talked about how it's pretty diverse. You've done a lot of things inside the dental sphere, but just give everyone a quick idea of how you got started in dental, some of the journeys you've had along the way, and let's talk about what you're doing now.
Yeah, sure. I think it probably makes sense to even start before dental. When I came out of college, just to give everybody and yourself a background, even more of a peek behind the curtain of my career, I was in Florida selling phone service door to door in a full suit. So there was these things called CLECs, competitive local exchange carriers.
Yeah.
You know those? Yeah.
We were a phone company for so long. I was in charge of the phone company, so I'm very familiar with CLECs.
Yeah. The company Allegiance Telecom. Have you ever heard of it?
I haven't heard of Allegiance, no.
Yeah, they're not in business anymore.
Okay.
But at the time, I would literally pull up to a shopping center inside of Florida in 90-degree heat in a full suit in my early 20s. I remember my first sale, it was to a jeweler in Clearwater, Florida. I just couldn't believe that he was spending any money with me. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, I got in dental after that in 2008. So yeah, Jake, I've done a lot, man. I've accepted that I've done a lot. I'm that middle-aged guy now in dental that I always looked at oh, he knows a lot. I feel like I know a little at this point. I worked at Dentsply for years, like a lot of people in the industry, getting their teeth kicked in, learning a ton. Got a couple promotions there, worked with a great team, and then moved over into the tech space for the first time, because this was before the Dentsply Sirona merger happened. Over in a Carestream Dental, was literally in patients' mouths, scanning their mouths, doing full arch scans, trying to, to sell impression scanners and mills and 3D printers, And then I moved over to Align Technology, and now we're fast forwarding to like 2018 and 19. And all of these different companies that I worked with were large organizations, but each one of them was similar to where they were like a startup within a large company. So I think I realized at that time that I really fell in love with just being a part of early stage companies and their growth and the discovery process and trying to figure out a problem. And, you guys can relate to this with your Weave experience, right? That there's nothing like being involved in every decision you make each day, has an impact on the business. So I've seen a lot of different ways to sell something, to partner with folks like within the industry, and just overall like ways to service clients, whether they're sole proprietors or DSOs. So it's definitely been a fun journey into what I'm doing now. We can certainly get into that as well, and how that history has shaped me.
Matt, so you said it was like startups within large companies. Is that because you usually were tasked with like launching some new product or something? Is that because you're like the cutting edge, like you mentioned, the scanners, the 3D printers?
Correct.
Back in 2018, that's pretty early to be selling that stuff. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, in 2008, when I started Dentsply, it was a division that people probably still haven't heard of, as the Raintree Essex Glenroe division. So Dentsply purchased that division. I want to say, I'm probably going to misquote here, but I think it was like a $15 million division at the time. But you obviously have the backing of, a massive company of Dentsply. So we were operating like as a startup that was basically funded by Dentsply. And I was the first sales rep they hired. So I was out in the field with like a plier trying to figure out how to sell. And then as we grew, so did the team. So yeah, it was a bit of, and Carestream is the same thing, like intraoral impression scanners. They were relatively new, 10 years ago. And then at Align, it was a pilot program that ended up not panning out because of the SDC lawsuit and all this stuff. But so all these companies were like large orgs, but they were all like startup type of atmosphere because it was new products.
So cool. You hit it on the head. Jake and I love startups.
Yeah. So that leads me to my first question for you, Matt. Tell me, like, what inspired DSO Compass and what you're doing today throughout this journey and all this experience you have? What brought you to this point? You're like, I need to do this.
I felt probably late, like 2019, actually Carestream days, I felt that there was a real gap between like the vendor and the DSOs themselves, or even sole proprietors, but specifically like DSOs, in understanding the technology that was out there. There wasn't, you have your Shine rep or your Patterson rep or your Carestream, your Dentsply, like they've got their bag full of goodies that they're selling to the customer. And I didn't feel that there was a really objective third-party voice that existed. Everybody had their priorities, what they were trying to push. So it wasn't solutions oriented. So when I started to think about like ways to go and educate the market, this felt like a good way, is to try and bridge that gap between these vendors that are trying to push products and not necessarily solutions. Like there's a gap there. And then also the DSOs specifically now, like, do they do a good enough job of understanding what's out there, of onboarding and implementing technology? And if I can help bridge that gap, we all try to make an impact. We love startups, right? If I can make an impact on a few of these groups and a few of these vendors with this sort of third-party approach, that's my idea. That's why, like, I have a newsletter, a LinkedIn newsletter. I'm trying to really ramp up some of the content and the awareness, and also working with clients, whether they're DSOs or some earlier stage companies, and trying to help them prioritize what's important out there. So,
love it. Love to hear it. And this, so in some ways, it's like you're taking all this experience and aggregating it into this DSO Compass to help everybody.
Yeah, I would say, I think the acceptance that I think all of us, the three of us, understand the business, right? We've been around long enough to kind of get it, and really accepting that inside of myself and saying like, hey, you guys need to focus on the headwinds that exist in the dental landscape. And a lot of these vendors, like they're not even thinking about it. And some of the DSOs might not be thinking about it as well. Like having control of your data. Like we talked about this before we got started, making sure that the data is a central nervous system of a DSO, and having access to that data and understanding it helps you be more actionable against some of the other headwinds that they're up against. And those headwinds are more, they're more focused now because of the market that we're in, post-COVID, post-M&A. Like the transactions are not happening like they used to. So, we hear all the same-store growth, repetitive all the time, EBITDA. Like I joke about that a lot. Like everybody, EBITDA, like all these acronyms, right? But at the end of the day, like those are the things that vendors should be talking about with DSOs as they talk to them, but also DSOs should be focusing on, especially in this market. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with things. And yes, a part of it is like realizing that we know a few things, like we can share them and we can make an impact. So that's what I'm trying to do.
So let's dig into that. So you're Matt has talked about kind of he's got two audiences with DSO Compass, right? There's the audience that is the DSO themselves and the challenges that they're facing, and then there's the tech companies or the new technology that needs to be more solution oriented. So let's break that down and let's look at it first from the DSO side. So what are some of the uncertainty or frustrations that you're seeing in the industry on the DSO side? And then after we talk about that, let's flip and talk about it on the tech side.
I would say on the vendor side, it's overpromising what your solution can do is not a good look.
An AI company would never overpromise, Matt.
Not at all. I mean, especially
it does everything. You don't know. You can fire all your staff. It does everything.
Yeah, you can basically put the letters AI after anything, and it just sells. I feel like it just,
I know. Oh my gosh, it's so sad.
I mean, and then you have a pilot, right? If you get to that point and you overpromise, you're not going to deliver on the pilot, and you're going to waste the DSO's time. And if you waste the DSO's time, and you're one AI company, guess what happens to all the other vendors? Like they're not going to get opportunities because of an overzealous founder that thinks that they can do all the things. But to me, you can't overpromise. And let's be honest, like if you do, I think our industry is forgiving. Like just say you're sorry and say, you know what, I'll fix it. And that goes a long way.
Matt, I have so many stories of that at Weave. I mean, when you're building a phone company from the ground up, that phone is mission critical to the practice, right? And so if there's any hiccups at all, if Clint breaks something
I never broke anything. This is fake news.
And they wake up and their phones don't work, right? But to your point, people being forgiving, I remember, and I could tell you the doctor's name, but I won't. But I remember one that we really screwed the pooch. And we apologized, refunded, right? Did what we should have done. That same doctor the next year called me back up and signed up again, right? People are very, very forgiving in our industry. So that's a phenomenal point. Just be honest, be real. If you mess up, own it, and you will get other opportunities if you handle those the right way. I think that's a great point.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Our business is a relationship-oriented business. I remember my greatest mentor, my mother, back in the day, when she helped me get into dental. She just said, you really just have to do a few things, and that's show up. And I'm like, what do you mean show up? She's like, well, there's a lot of people that actually don't show up and do their job. So it was like, show up and then, do what you're going to say and follow through. Like if you can do those things, you're going to be successful in the dental industry. I think that speaks to any industry, but a lot of that, I did a post like last year with some gratitude towards like some sales managers back in the day that helped me, and I could reach out to them today based upon that relationship, and some old clients as well. You guys probably can too. That's a great story, Jake, to be able to reach out and have a good reputation and say, hey, want to work together on this project, and they say yes is just awesome to be a part of.
Cool. Clint, were you going to say something? I feel like I cut you off earlier.
No, nope.
You just remembered who the doctor was. You remember that?
Yeah, I was trying to think of that doctor. It is interesting. I mean, building a phone system, we had so many of those opportunities to have to apologize for doing the wrong thing because it was so hard to get right. But I just love Matt's take on that. And the dental industry was forgiving for us. And I appreciate that.
Are you guys, I mean, not to bring this back on you, but I'm going to, are you guys using so many of those lessons from the weave days and what you're building now? Does anything stick out that that's been really impactful from those days that you're really implementing today?
We're still very early stage in what we're doing now, so we haven't scaled our headcount as much. But we learned so much about internal culture and how to build the culture internally right, which then helps take care of your customers. And so I think as we start scaling and hiring, which we're starting to do now, that's going to be some of the biggest lessons learned is how to scale the organization in the right way, how to hire the right people, how to get people that care about other people, that are empathetic, that understand the dental industry. Yeah, that's where we got some of our big learnings. And then, once you're in dental, it's hard to get out of dental. It's such a great industry to be in. The people are great, people like you that we consider friends. And it's such a big industry for a startup to dabble in that it's been it's hard to get away from. I think we tried it first and then we're like, we're going back.
Yeah, I think that there's more subconscious things that we do. We don't even realize that we do because of the lessons that we learned. So, I mean, just what you're talking about, Clint, hiring and even just making sure that we don't, we can be more lean. You and I talked about that a little bit today. Some of the things as a startup that we at Weave maybe hired too fast at times, and so I think there's a lot of subconscious decisions that we make we don't even realize come from what we are doing.
Yeah, the experience, though, right? For sure.
And one thing that I'll just share, because I think this is awesome for those startups that you're talking about, Matt. I think sometimes we get into analysis paralysis mode and we overthink everything. One of the conscious decisions that I made when I came to Kala was to not overthink actions and just keep moving. So when it came to marketing and just how to get our name out there, that's why we started this podcast as one of them, and just being active on LinkedIn. And we did not have a perfect strategy completely outlined and knew exactly what type of results we expected. It was, hey, we know we need to do this. We're going to learn along the way, and we can just get started with something to begin with. And it paid immediate dividends, right? For the brand that we're building, the people that we've connected with, and Clint is a little bit of a perfectionist sometimes. Maybe it's because he's an engineer. So he was like, hey, we're going to start this podcast. We got to have all these things perfect. Remember this, Clint? And I was Clint.
You're outing me. This is embarrassing. The engineer is supposed to be the lean startup guy. And I'm out here I just didn't want to create something that I was embarrassed of. But it's fine. You know what ended up being awesome is just talking with people like Matt is the best. And I know Matt is getting ready to start a podcast as well. We can edit that out if you don't want that to be out and about, Matt. But
I don't believe in editing.
But it's just jump in and start. It's like what you're doing with your newsletter, right? Just get some things going. So anyways, we talk about lessons learned, and so Clint and I are talking kind of a lot.
I want to talk about some of these newsletters. So Jake put the last 6 episodes. Are these the first 6 issues of these newsletters? These are the topics, right, Jake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Maybe want to talk. I don't know if we have time to talk about all of them, but I obviously am super interested in the dental experience in 2030. And I wanted to hear a little bit more on your take on that one, Matt. The dental experience in 2030. So 5 years from now, how much change do you see?
Yeah, I think it was an interesting, kind of fun thought exercise. Just, to see what's happening in Austin. I went to a conference in Arizona, and there was Waymos driving around, and that was the first time I saw the Waymos. I didn't get a chance to hop in one, but I'm going to be in San Fran next week visiting some clients. I'm definitely going to do it. So when you look at some of the self-driving cars that are out there, like it's real, right? I've got a guy that comes to pick me up in a Cybertruck at my place here and takes me to the airport, and he doesn't touch the wheel. And I live like in Park City. I'm not like deep in the woods, like in the backwoods or anything, but the roads are not like a typical just two-lane highway road, right? And he doesn't even touch the wheel. So it made me start to think about like the experience of us going to the dentist in, I don't know how many years, right? 5-10 years. Like why is it not feasible to think that, like I went a little further, like we have a robot, but like Elon's Optimus, like going to do some grocery shopping for us. Like I've got an appointment at the dentist. I'm sitting in my car. It's a 30-minute drive to the dentist. Like I'm not driving. I'm working on some things on my laptop because there's Wi-Fi. I've got Starlink or whatever it may be, right? And then I get to the dental office, and as soon as I get there in the parking lot, they automatically like check me in. All of my intake forms are filled out. Like there's no, like back in our day, right? We went to the doctor that gave us this clipboard. And in some cases that's still happening today. You have to fill out our name, but all that intake form, I can do it in the car. It was done beforehand. I'm on a waiting list. I get pinged. I go in. There's no receptionist. There's, in my mind, like I'm thinking, like if you've been to like a spa and got a massage done, there's usually somebody out front that's like a greeter. They show you around, they give you a tour. They're more like an experience coordinator that's making sure that you as a patient is having the best experience possible. And then you go back and sit in the chair, and like is it crazy to think that a robot could do hygiene on us? Like I don't think so. Like there's robots now doing like implant surgeries and such. Like it can certainly support hygiene. Obviously we have, some of these AI platforms to be able to, take your images and be able to diagnose things. So the whole experience from like you not even driving to the dental practice to like not really having to worry as much about the typical dental steps, and AI being able to do some of from the DSO side of things, like some of the billing. And like I spent some time recently at a DSO here in Utah, and their front desk staff does like 75% of their calls, like still with insurance companies. Like why can't we standardize that to where an AI agent is calling, confirming, verifying insurance eligibility, et cetera? That all integrates, using you guys, right? Integrates back into the system. So a lot of these things, there's automation that's going to happen. And, some of this is a bit futuristic, but in reality, like a lot of it's here now. Like to think about it, like it really is, right? Like when I think of the opportunity, the potential, it's just a matter of really dialing in some of these things and getting some adoption from the DSOs and having vendors that offer solutions. So that's kind of my there.
I love it. I love this thought experiment so much on the future. I love what you have to say. Like robots doing hygiene, I absolutely think is possible. That one might be a little further out.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't know. Like who knows? I do see voice assistants being first-class citizens in the chair. So like the doctor is doing, a prophy and looking at the issues, gums, looking for cavities, whatever. And he's dictating to the voice assistant, right? And not the hygienist. And the voice assistant's logging it all into the practice management system. And then the doctor's like, all right, can you propose a couple treatment plan options based on their insurance? And the voice assistant talks to the patient right in the chair. They schedule future appointments right there with the voice assistant as well. It's all just done like seamlessly, very quickly in the chair. I definitely think that future is coming like very, very quickly, which is exciting.
Yeah, I think in the ability, just from like a workflow perspective for a practice or a DSO, like let's say that individual didn't agree to treatment. Now you can just have AI look in the charts and then start a patient engagement with the patient through like an AI agent via text. There's so many interesting things like operationally from the DSO side of things that they can start to implement to not only provide a better patient experience, but provide some true EBITDA impact in my mind. Like some of it is right here now. A lot of it is coming up for sure.
Love it. You did mention automating the insurance verification calls, and we do work with a couple startups that do that. Here's your conspiracy theory for the day is now some of these insurance companies are trying to find out if the person calling them is an AI agent and hanging up on them. And I was like, oh, geez, come on, guys. Killing me, insurance agencies, killing me.
That's not surprising, but
the AI will figure it out.
Yeah, if you go and talk to any individuals inside at the practice level and ask them how many times they get hung up by insurance companies, like,
oh
yeah, they deserve AI, in my opinion.
Yeah, keep calling them 100 times with AI for one patient. I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's just one of the articles that Matt has already published. He's got stuff about navigating uncertainty, tech partnership failures, bridging corporate and clinical worlds. Tech is a transaction multiplier. I mean, there's all sorts of good content out there. So, Matt, as we discuss this newsletter, and it's more than just a newsletter, right? That's just one of the mediums that you're using to kind of get this information out there. Give me an idea of the audience that this is designed for. Is this for every DSO, for everyone in dentistry? Narrow down who you feel like would get the most out of this.
Yeah, I would say it's easily everybody in dentistry could read it, but I don't think it's for, Dr. Smith that has no interest in like scaling technology. So that sole proprietor that just likes his patients and likes to have his practice the way it is. I think it's more geared towards the DSOs that are emerging and want to be, the enterprise level or want to be the mid-market. So anywhere emerging locations that are interested in taking their technology and like wanting to grow and wanting to put interesting tech forward processes in place. So those are the folks that I'm really, really trying to target. And these aren't like things I just like come up with. Like I don't talk to my dog and be like, hey, what should I write about today? Like these are actually things that I'm learning, that I'm seeing as I'm inside a DSO, either at the corporate level or at the practice level, and also in conversations that I'm listening to from vendors that I work with that are working with DSOs. So anybody in the vendor space and in a DSO that's really trying to utilize technology is kind of the target.
What would you hope are kind of the major takeaways that they get from this, and what areas would it help them the most?
I would say evaluation of technology, who to work with, what questions to ask. This is like the DSO, like what questions to ask, what technologies exist that maybe I don't know about as a DSO exec. Because these executives, like we all know that talk to them, are operating on a lean team right now. So I'm trying to be the voice to help them clarify and evaluate and understand what technology is out there, all the way until like, how do we implement this? What does a pilot look like? How do we integrate it? That's kind of where I stop. Like being in the weeds to support the actual integration is something that others out there that I'm looking to partner with, but really the evaluation and understanding clarity in like a cluttered world. They're operating their business. I can help them understand it. And from the vendor side, like how to ask the right questions. You'd be surprised. You guys work with some earlier stage companies, like what a basic discovery is. Like ask them some questions, like learn about their business. Don't just talk to them about what you're doing. Like that it's founders like syndrome. Like you guys know, you're founders. You think this is like the best thing in the world and everybody should be focusing on it. And I'm just going to tell you about it and you're just going to buy it. Well, there needs to be some back and forth. And that's what I'm trying to support the vendors with. So a little bit of both.
I love it. It's funny because we just talked to Jill Nesbitt. Shout out to Jill again. She had but her take was from implementation moving forward. You're kind of keeping people up to speed of what's out there, how to find the technology you're looking for.
Yeah.
So
spoiler alert, she's the one that I'm working with. We're working out like how we partner together, because I think like she's the one that brings it together. She has a team that can build out the SOPs, can really structure it from a process perspective to help roll it out. So we're actually doing a panel at DSO Tech Summit, the two of us, with some of these CTOs and CIOs and tech forward folks, where we're talking about like evaluations, implementation. So that's great. You guys are talking.
That's awesome.
She's the one for sure.
That sounds like a good partnership.
Yeah, it's perfect. So Matt, let's give people some tangible stuff. Where can people find DSO Compass? What's the easiest way to get in touch with you and to be able to subscribe to that?
Yeah, certainly. It's DSOcompass.com. Not too difficult. Believe it or not, that domain was available.
It was available.
I didn't have to pay for it, so we're good there. That you can find out how to sign up for the newsletter there, and then obviously Matthew McGaw on LinkedIn. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this are like connected to you or second connection of mine, so certainly reach out there. I'm happy to chat with anybody that wants to connect. So
love it. You got any teas for some up and coming content that's coming out?
I don't know if I have any.
We don't want to give away all the goods too soon.
The thing, like, I'm not one of those that queues up the content like ready to go. I don't really sit there and have AI type it. Like something has to happen between now and I just dropped one today about like the pilot dilemma, like why pilots like stop. So I've got a good week to be in the field to kind of see what's out there and to see what strikes me. So I don't know what the next topic will be. I subscribe to the philosophy of like being genuine and being authentic. So as I figure out what's out there over the next week and a half is what I'm going to focus on. But it's going to be about technology and what I'm seeing in the space. So yeah, we'll see. Stay tuned. I am interviewing on a podcast. I'd love to have you guys. Clayton Russell he moved it over to DCA, so I'm going to be chatting with him coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I'll hit up you guys for some tips about podcast world.
That sounds good.
We'll do our best.
I don't know if we're the right guys for the tips yet. You might want to talk to someone that's better than us.
The things not to do.
Yeah, we can tell you some of those.
That works too.
Yeah.
Get better headphones if you're Jake.
Yeah. Hey, these are working for now. Awesome, Matt. Well, thank you so much for taking some time with us. We hope that people listening take the time to go subscribe to Matt's stuff. I think my favorite part of what he's saying is, and I've seen this with Matt, just authentic in all of his consulting with tech startups and selling. It really is a solutions-based approach where it's value for all parties involved and nothing less. And that's exactly what he's doing with DSO Compass. So that is evidence of the value you will get out of this. Subscribing to his stuff is you're going to get real authentic stuff that's a third-party, non-biased opinion on what he's seeing and what's out there that will benefit your practice. So Matt, thanks so much for joining us. Any final words?
No, I appreciate you guys. Feelings mutual. Anytime you guys need anything, I'm here for you. So thanks a lot for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you. And join us next time for another episode of Dental Disruptors Podcast. Thanks, everybody.